So sit down in your chair, please, comfortably. And you are going to make sure that you are not leaning back in your chair, but instead your torso is providing your body with support by using your muscles. And just look down at that imaginary line running across the front of the toes. And one foot is not further in front of the other foot, but all toes are touching that line in the same space. Very good. Lift the toes, press the heels down, and then let the toes gently come back towards the floor. So keep pressing those heels. You should feel the thighs engaged. Right? If they're not engaged, press your heels a little harder. Good. And then notice what your default is. Okay, so are you leaning forward? Are you leaning back? And then we just start to rock the pelvis forward and back a little bit. Okay, so it's almost just like doing a cat-cow, but only in the lower back. Good. You're just trying to find your neutral. And when you find that, stick it. Beautiful. Low belly is going to pull in. Roll the shoulders back and down. Keep them down, keep them back. And then feel like you're extending from the center of the collarbones, right here where they meet, center, all the way out towards the shoulders. So the chest actually expands laterally. Let the eyes close, let the chin drop down so there's length in the back of the neck. And then just try to maintain this as you take your 3 sighs. So even as you're sighing out, keep everything the same. Keep that height in the front of the spine. Keep that openness in the chest and that lift in the chest. After you take those 3 sighs, of course, you are always welcome to start to breathe in and out through the nose. But if there's any point in time in class where you feel that you need to take some sighs, you're welcome to do so. And we're just observing right now in this moment where your breath is flowing easily. And so notice on the inhalation what parts of the body are expanding with the breath. What parts of the body are relaxing the exhalation? Where does it fall first? We'll get more into this towards the end of the class. But for right now, I want you to see if you're finding that the inhalation is mostly in the front of the body, if you can start to send it towards the side body, towards the back body. And don't worry about what part of the torso is expanding with the in-breath. Just focus right now on making it deeper, more three-dimensional. And then before we start moving here in a moment, just taking this time here to think of something that you want to let go of today. It can be something physical, it could be a pattern of thought, it could be a judgment, an emotion. And when you exhale, whenever you're focused on the exhale throughout the class, visualize yourself releasing just a little bit of it with each out breath. Each time the breath comes out, you let go of a piece. And letting your eyes very slowly start to flutter back open. They're not already. Great. You're going to bring your feet just a little bit wider, and we're going to take some torso circles here. So, different than barrel rolls, right? You're just moving the whole upper body. And let the back round and arch and move the spine in any way that feels good for you. Good. Breathe as you do it. Slow breath. Just noticing kind of where you're stuck, where you're tight. And then you're going to reverse the circle, just bring it around other direction. And you might notice tightness in the same places or perhaps different places as you move the direction. Good. Awesome. Bring yourself back to center, but keep your knees and your feet pretty wide here. Ah, very good. Just watching you, Rosie, made me take a deep breath. That looked great. You're just nice and slow and looked really nice. All right, so you're going to reach your right arm out. Good. As you exhale, you're going to twist the body and bring that right arm across. And then you're going to inhale and just open it back up, maybe bring it back a little bit. You're just moving that right arm across the body to the left and then to the right, and letting the upper body, letting the torso flow with it. Good. And then coming back to center, putting that right hand on the thigh. Great. Reach that left arm out. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So you're going to exhale, bring it across the body. Maybe you twist a little bit. And then you're going to inhale, open that left arm back out to the left. Maybe it comes behind you some. And you flow with your breath, exhaling as you go to the right, inhaling as you open up to the left. And letting yourself just come all the way back to center. Beautiful. Fingertips inside the thighs here. And we'll do our little shimmy twist. So as you exhale, dropping one shoulder down and coming back up to center. And then you go to the other side, drop the other shoulder down. Bring it on back. Beautiful. Doing it with the breath. So you can always remember, for the most part, when we're doing these poses, if you're finding the torso being constricted, compressed, that's an exhale. When you find the chest and the torso being open, that's an inhale. Good. And coming back to center. Good. Taking your time there. Keep the legs just how they are. You're going to take your right arm and you're just going to make kind of swoops that go up over the head to the left and then bring it back up and over to the right. Good. Now it goes up over the head. You can exhale as you do that. You see the chest is slightly compressed. And then you inhale as you bring it back to the right. Good. Let's do one more. And we'll go to the other side. So now right hand on the thigh, left arm's going to reach up and over as you exhale. And then as you inhale, bringing it back to the left. Let's do one more. Great. All right. Place your hands back on your legs, and then you're going to bring the feet closer together. Keep them maybe still a little wider than hip distance, but not quite as wide as we were a moment ago. And I want you to take your right foot in front of you, and you're going to come onto the pinky toe side. Right? So you see there's this little bit of external rotation in the hip here. And then we're just going to lift that foot up, and then you're going to bring it back down. Okay. So we're working on strengthening the inner thigh area. You'll feel this some in the hip flexor as well, bringing some strength there. But the chest stays nice and lifted. Good. Core is turned on. Good. We're going to do one more. Awesome. And then we'll come to the other side. So just bringing that right foot flat, left foot, you're coming onto the pinky toe side. You're going to point the toes, keep the chest up, and then just lift up and then bring it back down. Good. We all know, you guys have been taking the class long enough to know one side's going to feel different. One side's going to be harder than the other. It just shows that little bit of an imbalance in strength. For me, I know my left side, my left hip, leg, always weaker. We're going to do one more here. Beautiful. Place that left foot down and we'll come into the little hip openers here. So your right foot's going to start kind of in front of the hip. So I bring my right foot in a little bit for that. I'm going to reach my arms out to the side. If your arms get tired, you can put them on your hips, okay? You're going to lift the foot up, bring it out to the side. Good. You're going to lift the foot up, bring it back to center. Okay, so we're just moving side to side here. Staying on that right leg. Good. So working on hip mobility. And of course, if there's anything like arthritis in the hip, if this bothers the hip, right? Yep. Then you know just not to go quite as far with this, right? You don't go out quite as far, or you can even drag and do like this as a modification. Good. And you'll notice, especially once we get to the left side, even though we're doing nothing with our arms other than holding them up, you're going to start to feel those shoulders starting to work. Yep. Good. All right. Bring it back to center. All right, we will bring it down. Take a few shoulder rolls here, right? It's absolutely amazing. Just holding up the arms, you really feel those shoulders start to work. So, all right, we're gonna go to the other side, of course. Okay, so again, you can keep your arms like this. If they get tired, put them on the hips. If you want more in your brain, can do this. You can do little circles with the arms while going out like this, but that's very tricky on the brain, okay? So you got three different options here. All right, you're gonna lift that left leg up, bring it out, lift it up, bring it back in. Good. Yeah, beautiful. Breathe when you do it. Right, so you can think of inhaling as you're opening up, exhaling as you're bringing it back in. Good. Beautiful. Good. Two more for my count at least. And one more. And release. Good. Roll those shoulders out. Get the elbows involved. Big, big roll. Yeah. Always feels good. All right. Do some forward rolls. Switch it up. All righty. And we'll come to some cat cows and we'll be standing up here pretty soon. We'll do cat cows and a little pigeon, of course. All right. So as you exhale, round the back one vertebra at a time, let that head drop. And then as you inhale, you're lifting, arching the back, maybe looking up. Right? Always remember, especially for those of us that have arthritis in the cervical spine, whiplash in the past, it doesn't feel good to look up. You can look straight ahead. I have a reverse cervical curve in my neck, and it took me a good 12 years before I was looking up, right? So if you don't, it's okay. Good. Let's do one more full breath. Me, a cat, and a cow. Good. And then, of course, we'll do our barrel rolls before the pigeon. I kind of combine all that together as cat cow. Right? So barrel rolls. When I was taught this is there's lots of different schools of yoga. And in my yoga therapy training, I did training in Kundalini yoga, which is very energy focused. And this is a Kundalini move, actually. And the person who taught it to me, you guys have heard me say this in the past, she called it peanut butter jar. And she said, pretend you're inside of a peanut butter jar and you're trying to scrape all the peanut butter off the sides. That's a good visual. And then you're going to reverse it, go the other direction. Right? So Kundalini yoga is highly focused on the chakra system and opening up the energy pathways, the nadis, through balancing your chakras. In this move in particular, it is opening and moving and circulating around each of those 7 energy centers. Good. All right, bring it back to center. Come right into pigeon pose, right ankle over that left knee. We have not done a whole lot with the hips, so if you're not leaning forward, totally normal and okay. We're going to be here 1 minute on each side. Okay, so this might be one that you just focus on keeping your chest nice and lifted. Make sure that the foot is flexed. No, all the alignment is right. And breathe. Relax the jaw. It's interesting. A lot of people come, I'd say most people come to yoga for the physical part of it. And then you start to learn a little bit more about the philosophy behind yoga. And you start to learn about the energy part of it and the meditation part of it. And it just expands your whole world. It's very interesting. Good. Go ahead and release that. Bring it on over to the other side. And we'll be here, of course, 1 minute. And one thing you might pay attention to is when we were doing those, the lifts, we were lifting our foot with the external rotation. Just noticing if the side that felt a little harder for you, if that side is the same side that feels a little tighter for you in pigeon pose, or if perhaps that knee is higher in pigeon pose. And 10 more seconds. Awesome. Release out of that. Come on up to stand. Grab your water, please. Take some sips. All right, we're going to go right into sun salutations because I have a little bit of standing ab work that I'd like for us to do more towards the end of class when our heart rate is a little higher. So you will stand in front of your chair, seat of the chair facing you, of course, feet hip distance apart. And I'm going to go over the standing mountain pose just like we start with seated mountain pose. I'll do it quick. You guys have all been here a long time. So feet hip distance apart. You have that imaginary line. One foot's not in front of the other. Lift the toes. Press the heels down, but also press the big toe mound and the little toe mound down. So the feet extend down towards the ground. You might gently let the toes come back down as long as you're still pressing through the feet. And then squeeze this imaginary block between your legs. So you turn on the thighs. Thighs are really strong. Another way to think of this is without moving your feet, it's like you're drawing your heels towards each other. You should feel those inner thighs start to grip. Good. Tailbone is heavy. Front of the spine lifts up. Shoulders roll back and down. And then there's length in the back of the neck as the crown of the head you feel lifts up towards the ceiling. Just close your eyes for a moment here. Take some slow breaths. And just let your mind, let your nervous system be aware of what it feels like to stand in true alignment. Right? The job of our muscles is really, of course, to move us, but to move our bones into the position that they need to be in. And it's our bones that help the foundation of keeping us upright. So feel your bones are stacked on top of each other. Keep pressing through the feet. My toes are lifted. And drop yours or keep them lifted and spread. Heels drawing towards each other so the thighs are gripping. Back is strong, shoulders and shoulder blades drawing down. Crown of the head lifting up, bifurcate the body. Beautiful. Let the eyes open back up. Don't move anything other than the arms. Inhale, reach those arms up high. Good. Keep your legs exactly how they are. Exhale, forward fold, hinge from the hip crease. Very nice. Keep the core engaged. Bend the right knee. Lift the left arm, twist. As you exhale, bring it back to center and then go to the other side. Reach that right arm. Good. Exhale, bring it back to center. Walk it back. Adho Mukha, down dog. We're going to be in down dog for a moment. We haven't stretched the back of our legs too much. So if it feels tight, just remember, bend your knees. Keep the spine long. And maybe you walk your dog, just bending one knee at a time a little bit deeper and letting the hips sway side to side, getting a little IT band stretch with that as well. Beautiful. Go ahead and set up for warrior one pose. Right leg's going to come forward, bend that right knee, left heel's down. You want to modify by keeping your hands on the chair or on the hips, you can do that. Good. Always important to make sure you see that right big toe. Good. Very nice. And really pressing through the left heel and the left leg, pressing it back and down. Find your breath. Remember what you're letting go of. Let go of a piece of it. The exhalations. Beautiful. Take your hands back to the chair if they're not there already and bring it back. Adho Mukha, down dog. And this time in down dog, I think I said this with each of you in the past already, but a big adjustment that a teacher will give you in down dog is to come around and press your hips back. Sometimes I would take a belt and put it right there where the hips meet the pelvis, and I would pull back and up. See if you can do that for yourself just by moving your pelvis back and up, finding length in the waist. Even if they move a millimeter, an inch, you feel that space open up. Good. Set up for warrior one on the left side. Left foot comes forward, right heel's down. Make sure you see the left big toe, knee alignment, knee safety. And you're just pressing down and back through the right leg. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And as we hold this, another adjustment I would give in person. So I'm telling you a lot about the adjustments that I do to see if you can kind of do that for yourself a little bit. I would come by and I would take your ribs and I would just pull up the side of the ribs, right? So see if you can kind of just inch your waist a little longer. Just inch your ribs up a little bit more. So you find that length in the upper body. Beautiful. Take those hands to the chair. Come into your forward fold. Feet can be hips distance apart. You can work on bringing them closer together if you like. And then if you want the option of chair pose, coming into your chair, lifting the toes, weights in the heels, you let the hips drop. And maybe the arms lift. Good. If you're in that chair pose, think of drawing your heels towards one another so you activate the legs. And inhale, rise and shine. Bring it all the way up. And exhale, take it to the heart. Good. Come to your standing Tadasana. We won't spend as much time here, but Make sure you reset. Let your eyes close. Use your muscles to stack your bones. Find that steadiness with the breath, steadiness with the body. And then letting the eyes open, inhale, reach up. Don't move the legs. Exhale, fold from the hip crease. Torso comes forward. Good. Bend the right knee. Lift the left arm. Twist. Bring it back to center. Go to the other side. Right arm lifts. Twist. Beautiful. Bring it back to center. Walk it back. Adho Mukha, down dog. Right? Bending your knees if you need to. Imagine someone's behind you pulling your hips back. Good. Let the head drop. And as you take the next 2 exhales, try to drop your chest a little bit more. Draw the shoulder blades onto the back body. Let the chest expand. And right leg's coming forward. Warrior one pose. Reach the arms or keep them down if they need a bit of a break. Breathe here. Right, strong in the legs. And we're going to come into a high lunge. So place your hands onto the seat of the chair. Lift your left heel up. So you're in a lunge position. You should feel your hips shift forward a little bit, as in squaring towards the chair. Left hip will come forward, right hip will draw in and back. You can stay here, pressing through your left heel. Okay, if you feel pretty sturdy, you can maybe come to your fingertips. If you still feel sturdy, maybe you take your hands to your hips and lift the torso. There's lots of options for this. If you're still feeling sturdy, you might lift your left arm. And then if you want more, lifting the right arm, full expression, right? But you have to press through the left leg so the right leg doesn't get too tired too quick. Beautiful. Take those hands down, bring it back, down dog, Adho Mukha. And then we do it on the left side. So left foot coming forward, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Determine where you want the hands. Find the breath. Maybe deepen the inhalation. Slow down the exhalation. Good. Take your hands to the chair, setting up for high lunge. So you just lift that right heel up. Press a lot through the right heel. Press back through the right leg. Left knee's bent. Maybe you come to your fingertips. Maybe you feel strong and sturdy and you take it to your hips. Maybe the right arm lifts. So it's always whatever leg is back, that's the arm you lift first to increase that stretch. And maybe both arms lift. It's just an option. Very good. Go ahead and place those hands down. Bring it into your forward fold. Good. In forward fold here. I'm actually going to turn around so you can see my right leg. Okay, you're going to do little circles with the right leg here. Right, so you bend the right knee and you start to make some circles. Right, you can make the circles pretty small. If you want slower and smaller range of motion, you can make them really big. Okay, anywhere in between. And then reverse it and go the other direction. Go ahead and place that right foot down. Let the hips just kind of sway a little bit side to side here. So you bend one knee, just let the hips sway, kind of like walking your dog, but we're in a forward fold. Good. And then we're going to do those circles, of course, on the left side. Okay, so you bend the knee, and you might start out with your circles small, just kind of assess what feels good. You can have the circles really big. You can be anywhere in between. And then you reverse the circle. Good. Bring that left foot down. Take a rest in forward fold or do your last option for chair pose if you want it. Weight is in the heels. Drop those hips. Reach the arms. Right. Imagine squeezing that block between the inner thighs, drawing the heels towards each other. You should feel those inner thighs grip. Inhale, rise and shine. Bring it all the way up. Good. Exhale, take it to the heart. Beautiful. All right. So if you, I guess, come to the side of your chair in case you need your chair for balance support. I'm going to demonstrate it without the balance support, but if you need to hold onto it, it's there for you. Okay. You are going to lift your arms up. Okay. If this is not possible for you, you can do this with your arms out in front of you if that feels better on the chest area. Okay. And you're just going to slowly kind of like march in place, right? So you're going to lift your right leg up and then you're going to bring it down. And then you're going to lift the left leg and you're going to bring it down. So this is balance, but this is also deep core work, right? So not so much about trying to get some ripped abs, right? What it's really about is deep functional core work. Okay? When our core is strong, deeply, it helps to work with the pelvic floor. It helps to work with the diaphragm, something we've also been doing with our breathing. And it helps to keep you upright. It helps to take away back pain. Good. Couple more. Good. One more on each side. Very good. Take those arms down. Give those shoulders a little roll. Very good. Very nice. All right. So I want to do another pigeon pose, seated pigeon pose, before I have you guys go relax because we did do some hip stuff. Your heart rate's up. Grab some water if you need it. I know I do. Good. All right. So right ankle over the left knee here. Flex that foot. And we're here a minute, right? So if you want to try, you're welcome to lean forward at this point because we've done a little more work. Our heart rate has gotten up. We've worked some of our hips. Did a little stretching, but we did a lot of range of motion in the hips today and a lot of strength in the hips today. And one thing I want people to remember is that your hips don't just include like the part that we're stretching right now. There's the front of the hip too, which is the hip flexor. There's the inside of the hip, right? The inner thigh area, stretching that, making that strong. It's hard to do. And then, of course, the outer hip, what I think most people think of when they think of the hips. You want to get all aspects. Beautiful. Release that down. Come to the other side. We'll be there also for 1 full minute. Starting now. Again, if you want to lean forward, you can do what feels good. Try to relax the jaw. That I notice anytime people stretch their hips, especially in pigeon pose, I find a lot of clenching in the jaw. So relax that space. Sometimes I'll tell people take those, it's called like a labor breath, when you go, right? You just kind of do that with your lips, and that can help just release, relax. That's why they tell you to do it in labor. It relaxes your pelvis. And release out of that. Very nice. There's anything else, any other stretches that you need to do before you go lay down and relax, go do them for sure. Otherwise, go get yourself comfy. To find the position that you want to rest in. Make any final adjustments that you need. And then find stillness. Your body is telling you to take any sighs, do that at this time as well. And move into deep nostril breathing. And as you did at the very beginning of our session today, going to just observe for yourself where your breath is moving easily. Where in the torso is the breath moving? What part of the rib cage is expanding and retracting with each breath? And we'll start with the inhalation. So let the inhalation fill up all parts of the rib cage, the sides and the front and the back, all filling up with breath, with prana, with energy each time that you breathe in. And let the exhalation start to match that just by becoming longer. And at the end of that exhalation, you kind of feel yourself squeezing out the rest of the air. And you feel the rib cage dropping all the way in, pushing the air out of the lungs. And then that inhale just becomes the rebound of that deep, wide breath in. And, for the majority of us, we tend to breathe more in the upper half of the torso. A lot of times the lower half doesn't get as involved. We touched on this last week. We touched on it just a little bit today during the ab part. But the diaphragm and the pelvic floor work together, as do the intercostal muscles between the ribs, as do the deep core muscles. They all work together to allow you to get the most efficient and effective breath. And so we'll be working with this just kind of deep, full breath involving all aspects of the body I just referred to. And remember the inhale, it's when you're working with this technique, the inhale is very passive. Okay. The belly, the abdominals, totally relaxed. We'll let all those muscles relax so that when you breathe in and it comes into the front and the side and the back body, you can draw that inhale down and let the pelvic floor relax. Let it open, let it soften, which gives the diaphragm that space to also drop down. Diaphragm drops. The lungs expand more. The lungs are also able to expand down. Because remember, the lungs are not a muscle. They can't contract and expand on their own. They take the shape of their container, which is the rib cage and the diaphragm. So you let all of that open, the pelvic floor, the belly, the intercostals, they just expand. And the breath, you draw it in and down. And the exhales is quite the opposite, and you start at the bottom And you squeeze the pelvic floor and you pull the abdominals in and you squeeze the intercostals of the rib cage, the front and the side and the back. And you squeeze all that breath out, like wringing out the rest of the water in a washcloth. Wring it out, let it all out. And then you inhale as you relax everything back. And we've worked on this in the past with other techniques where it almost creates that vacuum effect, right? You squeeze everything out and then you relax. And you find that the inhale can become deeper and longer as a reaction to the way that you exhale. And the inhale is that vacuum. The pelvic floor relaxes. The deep abdominal muscles relax. The diaphragm drops. Everything's expanded. And you reverse it and you squeeze up from the pelvic floor through the abdominals, the deep abdominals. You can almost feel if you pay enough attention, the diaphragm lifting back to the bottom of the ribs, pushing the air out. And then you let those intercostal muscles in between each of the bones of the ribs work to squeeze the rest of that air out. It's forceful yet not forceful, right? There's not straining involved, but you're using, again, your muscles to move the bone. Think of those intercostals and the diaphragm moving the bones of the rib cage so that the lungs, again, take the shape of their container and all that carbon dioxide is released. Which then leaves more room for rejuvenating, healing oxygen to come back into the lungs. Right, to flow into the blood being pumped by the heart, to go to the rest of the body, to bring life, healing, light, prana. And we all breathe at different paces, so I can't really instruct in a way that says, inhale now, do this, exhale now, do this, because we're all different. I've never believed in that kind of teaching with breath work, because one person might feel rushed, another person might feel it's too long. So I'm just talking you through it and letting you go at your own pace and giving you some of the whys and the hows behind the technique of this full, deep breath. And touching on it through class by explaining the job of the muscles and the bones, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor and the deep abdominals, so that we can do this at the end of the class and you can tie all those little pieces together so that it makes sense. And again, everything is relaxed, open. On the inhale, even the pelvic floor, get it involved. Let it just relax and expand. You'll notice when you get that pelvic floor involved, it frees up the diaphragm, which frees up a deeper breath. Right? And then you squeeze, you contract from the bottom all the way back up. Let those intercostals work to bring the rib cage in without straining, certainly. And you just let this repeat over and over. And you find that the breath gets more efficient, as I mentioned earlier. But it also helps in so many other ways other than getting a efficient breath and more, lung capacity and deeper volume of oxygen coming in, carbon dioxide going out. Right? But the deep breaths, they help your mind, they help anxiety, it helps negative chatter start to dissipate, right? And it's almost like you're giving yourself this huge hug of like deep self-love because you're helping yourself on a physical level and a mental level, on an emotional level. And all it takes is slow, deep, functional breathing. And it's amazing how it just goes through every part of your being, your soul. You guys can keep doing this as long as you like. And you do stop, you just start to let yourself breathe without intention of it being any particular length or depth or contraction of muscles or letting go of muscles. Right? Just breathe. And the more you practice this, the more natural it will become for the breath to be deeper just throughout life, throughout your day. Thank you for your presence. It's a highlight to see you and your faces and your smiles and hear how you're doing. And even though we are on a computer, I feel so blessed to be a part of your life. So I thank you for that. Thank you for letting me in to your life. We do not have class next week, but we'll pick back up the following week, the same breathing technique, and I will upload this class on YouTube. I love you guys more than you know. Peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intentions. Namaste.